I have concerns about Matt LaFleur as a coach. He was severely so, and this is where I'm going to go back to my initial thing where I said, I think LaFleur's in charge, and I think that's what's happening with the team. And I have big concerns about that because I think he was severely outcoached in some games last year. Like he didn't even look like he should be on the field as an opposing coach against Kyle Shanahan in that group or some of the other teams they played. And so you're putting your faith in that, and I don't think he has it. And the other part, if this draft pick is bucking Rodgers' ability to use his experience and intelligence to your advantage, just because it's not your offense the way you drew it up or what you planned for the whole week, that's an ego problem. But it's also your ego, Matt LaFleur, shouldn't be that big because you showed you're not that good of a coach when they put you against the top coaches in the league. So you need to put your ego aside, let Rodgers use his smarts and his abilities and all of the freaking snaps of experience to get you in the most advantageous situations. And so that has me a little concerned about the direction of this team. The other thing I have concerns about is Brian Gutekunst's stubbornness with his draft picks. I'm concerned, like you look at this most recent draft, but you look at last year's draft, look at the way he defended the pick of Rashawn Gary. And even after the season was over, like how he thought he was really impactful somehow in his 200 some snaps and his 2 sacks or whatever it was. Brian Gutekunst has shown he will pull a quick trigger on a guy that's a problem as long as it wasn't his guy. He got rid of Demarius Randall like that for Deshaun Kaiser, which equaled nothing, right? He's gotten rid of other guys super fast, but those were not his guys. Look how long it took him to cut Jamon Moore. He's hung on to MVS. Did they not draft receivers? This is my question to him. If I give him some truth serum, did you not draft any receivers because you drafted those receivers in the draft before and you really want to see them pan out? Or 2 years ago, that was your first draft and you really believe in your guys? You're too stubborn to say I made a mistake. And that's what I think about Gutekunst. So you got LaFleur, who's on a power trip, Gutekunst, who's too stubborn to admit when he makes a mistake. Those two things have me concerned about the future.
You cut Jamon Moore after 1 year.
No.
Yeah.
He was on the team the whole first year and then back in camp the whole next year. And then they cut him.
Oh, yeah, that's camp. But that's
that
camp.
Dude should have been cut the first year. That guy did not perform. He was far below those other receivers.
Who else did they have?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but you could pick up anybody off the street and throw him in there, and he'd be better than Jamon Moore.
Made the team because they had nobody.
No.
That's why they had to draft those 3 receivers. They had nobody at receiver. He cut Jordy like a jerk. That's the problem. But he cut Jordy and signed Jimmy Graham. Then he had to draft 3 receivers and put guys in there who weren't ready to play. That was the problem. And I hope I'm not breaking up because I can't see any of you guys moving at all. But what I'm saying is that's the problem. But he did cut Jamon Moore at last year because he was like, hey, this guy stinks. And luckily for him, St. Brown got hurt. Didn't have to make that decision. He also cut Lazard like a ding-dong, but at least signed him back right away. Thank God. Nobody else signed him. Praise the Lord for that.
How long did he stick with Jimmy Graham, Ben? That was his signing. That was his big signing.
A crap ton of money. Yes. Yeah. But what's even more concerning, listen, Jimmy Graham was still on contract for this year, and they cut him. Because they said, okay, we tried it for 2 years. He's a veteran player. We gave him a second shot at it. He stinks. Boom, he's gone. Listen, Goody's got issues. There's no doubt. But he's not afraid to cut guys when things go wrong. Okay? Now, will he cut Billy Turner is the big question because that guy stinks. That'll probably never happen. But he got rid of Jimmy Graham because he knew he sucked. He didn't sign back Geronimo because he stunk. He freaking got rid of Jamon Moore last year because he didn't need him, even though he had a guy hurt and he couldn't even sign Lazard, and still Jamon Moore couldn't make the team. So what does that tell you? That tells you he knows maybe it takes him a year to figure it out, But eventually, he's not afraid to say, okay, I screwed up. I'm going to let this guy go. He ain't Ted Thompson, who hung on to Justin Harrell for like 4 years when he was hurt every single year on a first-round pick. Or Derek Sherrod, who was with the Packers for like 3 years, didn't play at all and stunk up the joint. I mean, come on.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
Gute at least has realized, okay, this guy sucks, he's gone. This guy stinks, he's gone.
In some cases.
The biggest problem to me is that LaFleur kept playing Geronimo and Jimmy Graham. So that was a LaFleur problem. Why is he playing these? He doesn't have to play him. Just because Gute put him on the team, you don't have to play him. He can say, this guy stink, I ain't playing him. I'm playing this guy because he's better. Now, there was a time when both Tanyan and Sternberger were hurt, so there's no choice but to play Jimmy Graham and to probably feed his ego and make him feel good. But still, Geronimo had no reason being out there. We all know that. But Kumaro was hurt for a while, too. That's the other thing that happened later in the middle of the year there. And Devontae was hurt. So they had to rely on Geronimo. And that's another thing LaFleur had to do, too. So these are things that I'm telling you as Mr. Ben Optimist that maybe it's not as bad as you think.
All right.
Man, why did you freeze?
Because you're talking some nonsense now. Here, I got some things pointed out from the chat. Double Doink says about Gute, Burks, Jackson, 2 guys that couldn't even see the field last year, are now going into their 3rd years on the team. And Cole Madison were all Gute draft picks that he just couldn't let go.